Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to Remember 11, Age of Infinity. We are just working things out as Satoru now. Still want to get my hands on that terabyte disc, but I think our plan is to talk to Uni first, so let's see what happens. I took my wristwatch out of my pocket. 11:03, still before noon. I decided to begin without delay. First of all, I'll start with this room. Examining my own room might help me find some clues regarding my amnesia. Oh, okay, we've got a bunch of things we can do. I don't know if it'll make a difference, but let's go with the desk, because that's where we were leaving our notes, right? I decided to check out the desk. The objects arrayed across it met my eyes. A notepad and a felt tip pen lay there. That's right, I could use this to reach Kokoro. If I left a message on this notepad, she could read it when the transfer occurred, and she could reply to me in the same way. As long as she left the note behind, then I'd be able to read it once I came back to SPHIA. This is my room. No one said that we could take physical objects between... there should be no way to take physical objects during a personality exchange, right? Because we're not taking anything physical. No, should I say it's Kokoro's room too? Anyway, this is our private space, so whenever she was in the facility, she'd always come here. That somewhat old-fashioned means of communication isn't exactly what you call a luxury, but for now, I can't think of a better way. I took the pen in hand and immediately set about writing a message, but what should I write about? After some hesitation, I put the pen back down. I hadn't heard any details from the three in SPHIA yet. It probably won't be too late to write a message later. If I wrote something unreliable, it'd only confuse her further. Leaving the notepad blank, I moved away from the desk. Next I should... Shelves? I decided to examine the shelves. The shelves are at the foot of the bed. Lying next to the alarm clock were two things. The first is something like a card, and the other a small metal object. I picked up the card first. Satoru Yukido, 133122239801. That was engraved into the surface of the plastic card. Yukido Satoru, my name. It looked like some kind of ID card. I turned the card over, but there was nothing worth describing on the back. My ID card. What was it used for? When, where, and what for? Come to think of it, Utsumi said this to me yesterday. You must have been a member of the staff, but I'm not sure anymore. Perhaps you've been a patient here from the start. So which one is it? Staffer or patient? If I was a staff member, then this ID card was probably for the use of SPHIA personnel. If I was a patient, what then? It's not like it's strange for patients to have ID cards. Maybe this place requires all patients to carry an ID card. I didn't understand. I decided to put the card in my pocket for now. Next, I picked up the small metal object. It was just a garden variety key. Two grooves were carved down its center, and both sides had complicated patterns engraved on them. What do you mean garden variety? It's a key. That's like the best thing you can find in this situation. It looks like a car key though. Engraved on both sides, that's a car key. With just one glance, I could tell that it wasn't a key for a bike or any kind of automobile. What? What the fuck kind of key has engravings down both sides but isn't an automobile key? Didn't seem to be the key to a drawer or a safe either. It looked like an ordinary house key. It was a key that can't be described except for the word key itself. After picking it up, I took a look around me. The first thing I thought of was that it could be a key to this room. Without further ado, I opened the door and tried to put it in the lock on the other side, but it didn't fit. That proved that this wasn't the key to this door. I hadn't noticed any other keyholes around. So what's the key for? Thus, it too remained a mystery. I didn't understand what those items were for, but I decided to stop thinking about them for now. I put the key in the same pocket as my ID card. Next, I examined the bed. Why is there a refrigerator in our room? That's pretty neat. I decided to check out the bed. I removed the pillow and the covers. The white sheets were spotlessly fresh and clean. I stopped to look under the bed. Nothing. Not so much as a scrap of litter there. Just in case, I decided to check under the mattress too. I grabbed the edge and raised it high. A magazine. A magazine had been hidden under the mattress. At first I was flustered, thinking its contents were probably indecent. Or rather, maybe it's not wrong to say I was hoping so. But sadly, it wasn't one of those magazines. Politics, economics, society, culture, entertainment, the week's current events, and gossip topics. News, reviews, in other words, an ordinary weekly magazine. Boring, where's the titties? Current Events Weekly was written on the cover, and right below it, July 21st, 320 yen. The cover also included an illustration, but didn't contain any writing. What year was this issue from? I picked up the magazine. After replacing the mattress, I sat down on the bed. I decided to check the back cover. Along with the publisher, editor, and some other names, I found the following description. Issued 7th of the 21st of July, 2011. Sorry, I'm not used to the American date system. It's from last year. That was about half a year ago. I tried flipping through the pages. A certain article caught my eye. How a plane crash survivor finally found. Found after 7 days in extreme conditions. That in itself wasn't particularly astonishing. I already knew that what the headline had to be about. How about the contents? There might be some useful information in them. Thinking this, I scanned the article. To sum it up, the control tower lost the plane signal at about 3:30 PM on January 11th, 2011. The last known location was in the sky over the southern mountain range of Aomori Prefecture. The police and related bureaus assembled a special rescue team and immediately commenced a search for the fallen airframe and the passengers. However, despite the ongoing investigations and searches, not a trace of the wreckage could be found. More precisely, the search lasted 6 days. For about a week, the state of investigation remained unchanged. The whereabouts of the airframe are as of yet unknown. Even among the other plane crash incidents that happened in our country, this was an exception among exceptions, an unprecedented event. The sudden disappearance of Flight HAL 18 during the week before the airframe was found. Japan was in an uproar. Speculations flew, even including those that accredited the crash as something paranormal. It might have crashed into the Sea of Japan, or been shot down by a fighter plane from a certain country. No, it was accidentally hit by a ground-to-air missile. Kidnapped by a UFO, swallowed into a different dimension. Flight 18 never existed in the first place, and so on. Of course, all those theories were mere speculation, and all of them were wrong. The authorities would later explain the cause of the delay in the discovery of the airframe as follows. 1. Between the time the control tower lost the signal of the aircraft and the time of the crash, there was a blank of over 30 minutes. During this time, Flight 18 appeared to have been flying at a low altitude, weaving its way through the mountain range. Herewith, the wreckage was found in a place far from the crash point predicted by the authorities. 2. Nobody observed Flight 18's low altitude meandering. Flight 18 was making its way through the mountainous area in the dead of winter, a highly abnormal flight path. There were no private homes in the surrounding area, and nobody around could have heard the sound of the crash. 3. Bad weather conditions. At the time, the entire Mount Akakura area was constantly subjected to bad weather, therefore conducting an investigation was difficult. 4. The effects of solar winds. The most intense solar winds ever recorded in history. This disturbance resulted in the malfunction of the reconnaissance satellites. The use of the satellite photography was also impossible. The above was the official statement concerning the lost week, released by the authorities. Well then, on the contrary, how could the rescue team reach the site in the afternoon of the 17th? They simply said, "We got a phone call." Early on the morning of the 16th, the authorities received a phone call from a man claiming to be a survivor of Flight 18. The gist of it was that there was 4 people in the shelter cabin on Mount Akakura in need of rescue. Immediately after that, the call was cut off. Tracing the call to its original, they found that the caller had made use of the satellite phone line. But that line used by the satellite phone was also malfunctioning at the time due to the effects of the solar winds. The chances of getting a proper connection in the year of 2011 was 1 in a million. Therefore, receiving a call from the survivors was an event that couldn't be described as anything short of a miracle. Incidentally, if not for that phone call, the authorities probably never would have been able to pinpoint the exact location of the crash in time. Anyway, after receiving that information, the authorities attempted to search the area by helicopter right away. But even so, from the 15th until daybreak on the 17th, the whole Mount Akakura was in the midst of a severe storm. They couldn't even fly the helicopter in that weather. The mountain rescue team could have gotten there on foot from the base of the mountain, but not without extreme difficulty. The shelter cabin was near the peak of Mount Akakura. No matter how skilled the climbing team members were, in estimation it would have taken them a week or more to reach the cabin. In the end, there was no other option than to wait for the weather to improve. On the afternoon of the 17th, there was a break in the storm, and thus the rescue unit at last managed to arrive on the scene. This is the important part. If not for the historical truth of the successful connection of the satellite phone on the 16th, then the rescuers would have never arrived on the 17th. And if that was so, the report of the discovery of the wreckage on Mount Akakura would have also been delayed. In other words, it's like this. If the phone call hadn't connected on the 16th, the rescuers wouldn't have arrived on the 17th and the report would have been made later on. Well, if you'd asked me so what, I'd have to answer with, that's about it. But, anyway, this was somehow bothering me. I decided to file it away in the corner of my mind. The article continues. On January 17th, 2011, 27 corpses, all from those among the 31 missing passengers and crew members, were discovered at the crash site. A single survivor was also found. Kusuda Yuni. Now what about the remaining 3? The man on the phone had said there are 4 survivors. If you include Yuni, then a number of people matches. The shelter cabin also contained evidence that several people had lived there for days. The authorities interrogated Yuni about the circumstances of the accident, but Yuni was in an unstable mental state and he remained obstinately silent. Days later, the 3 were identified through the passenger list: Yomogi Seiji, Fuyukawa Kokoro, and Mayuzumi Lin, but their whereabouts remained unknown. The 3 that suddenly vanished, it became a rich source of material for the mass media. Public speculation began to fly once more. Some of them were pretty far-fetched. There were even those asking, is the struggle over food? Did Yuni kill the others and then bury them somewhere? Even in the face of scandals like these, Yuni never broke his silence. No, he would have eaten them, obviously. You don't bury it. That's free food. They say that gossip lasts only for a season. Public interest gradually faded away as well. Time passed, and July 3rd, 2011 soon arrived. The snow thawed and the mountain surface revealed the decomposing corpses of 3 people. From here on, it was just the same as the newspaper I read in the shelter cabin. At 6:53 on January 17th, 2011, the three were caught in an avalanche and passed away. The only difference was that the magazine article ended with these questions. How did they survive on Mount Akakura for 7 days at such terrifying temperatures? Even if they knew that help was on its way, why and for what purpose did they leave the shelter cabin? What did Kusuda Yuni see during those 7 days? What did he go through? Why does he refuse to speak about it even now? Is he hiding some truth that he doesn't want revealed? Our investigation will get to the heart of the matter next week. Please look forward to it. Don't bug the poor 11-year-old. The article ended with those misleading words. What the heck? It ends there? I almost shouted at the magazine. I clucked my tongue. Thinking that I might have missed something from the article, I flipped through the pages once more. Something fell out of the magazine with a swish. I bent over and picked it up. It was a plane ticket. Specifically, it looked like a boarding pass, but the destination was Sydney Airport, Australia. The date of departing was January 18th, 2011, and the holder's name was Satoru Yukido. What does this mean? I was going to Australia a year ago? I don't remember that at all. No matter how much I think about it, it's unlikely I'll come up with an answer. I slipped the ticket back into the magazine. I returned the magazine to its place under the mattress as well. I had no idea what was going on. Why had I hidden a 6-month-old magazine and a ticket from a year ago in a place like this? I felt as if a part of a plan, thought up by someone hiding behind the scenes. I felt like someone had expected me to look under the mattress. No, perhaps that someone was really me before I lost my memory. My name was printed right there on the ticket. The mystery kept getting more and more complex, but there was no use in getting obsessed over it. I'll work on solving the mystery of the magazine and the ticket eventually. As I thought that, I decided to examine the refrigerator. I opened the door. There were bottles of mineral water stored inside, small 500ml bottles. Of the 3 bottles, one had already been opened. It was about 1/3 empty. The mineral water I drank yesterday came from the kitchen, so I haven't touched this bottle at all. Which means that... Kokoro? Kokoro's consciousness is operating my body and may have drunk the water. Of course, there was also the possibility that I'd opened the bottle and drank some yesterday before I fell from the clock tower. Well, enough about the water. Everyone drinks water. There was nothing else in the refrigerator. I closed the door. Just in case, I looked on top of the refrigerator too. Of the several glasses lined up there, only one was placed upright. I'm assuming the open bottle of water is how we got poisoned, right? That would make sense. Only a few milliliters of water were left inside. I probably drank the mineral water from this glass, but who cares about that? However, I didn't overlook the small silver fragment placed next to the glass. I picked it up. It was obviously a pharmaceutical package, the remnants of a 2-pill package that was already open. The medicine itself was gone. Still, it's possible to understand something just from checking the package. Each tablet was around 7 to 8 millimeters in diameter. They appeared to be round. Needless to say, it was an orally administered medicine. Really? You didn't shove it up your ass? Well, good to know. I turned it over. When the torn foil was folded back into place, there beside the name of the pharmaceutical company were the following letters. Zegtamin. Zegtamin? An unfamiliar name? What kind of medicine was it? But even if I didn't understand the effects or the ingredients, there was no mistaking that someone had taken it in my room. Probably me. That's probably what the mineral water was used for. Now, who in the world had taken it? Was it me? Of course, I don't remember doing anything like that. But if it wasn't me, then maybe someone who was operating my body had drunk it. Those were the ones that Utsumi gave us. And there was only one possible candidate there. Kokoro. Kokoro most likely took them. I should definitely ask her about this later. Nevertheless, I'd like to ask her to stop ingesting strange things while she's borrowing someone else's body. Seriously now. I returned the silver package to the top of the refrigerator as I muttered to myself. For now, I decided to file away the medicine's name, Zegtamin, in the corner of my mind. Next, No, there appears to be nothing left to examine. I've checked out all the things I had in mind. There weren't that many of them to begin with, so I don't think I overlooked anything. The next thing I had to do was talk to the 3 other people here in SPHIA. I left the room. Uni. Terabyte does. I stood in the middle of the dining area and surveyed the room. I immediately spotted the other 3. Utsumi was standing in the kitchen, both hands on her waist. She appeared to be thinking about something. Uni and Inubushi were sitting next to each other on the sofa. It looked like they were having fun talking, but I couldn't make out what the conversation was about. I decided to head over to Utsumi first, since she was closest. Good morning, Fuyukawa-san. Did he sleep well after that? She turned to face me as she said that. Oh yeah, Fuyukawa. Sorry. I just get so used to being called... whatever. Good morning. I managed to sleep soundly thanks to you. In fact, I only just got up. Oh, that way of speaking. Could it be Yukido-kun? Itsumi noticed immediately. I hadn't needed to tell her after all. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's because you was still Fuyukawa Kokoro the last time we spoke. A frank answer. She really believed that I had DID. But I think my exchange phenomenon theory is much more likely. Well, nothing will come of it if I try to explain it to her though. I don't think she'd believe me. When even I have my doubts about it. There's no harm in letting her believe I have DID. I tried to steer the conversation in another direction. By the way, Itsumi-san, what are you doing here? It's almost noon, isn't it? So I'm preparing lunch. Preparing? It looks like you haven't even gotten started yet. It certainly looks like that. And I guess you could say I'm preparing to prepare. Quite honestly, I haven't decided what to make yet. Because of the time, I'm having trouble deciding whether to go with a breakfast menu or a lunch one. Ah, I see. I've got it. Why didn't I get you to decide, Yukido-kun? That would solve everything. Breakfast or lunch style, which would be better? I gave her my answer. Breakfast? Duh. It's the best meal of the day. Everybody knows that. Breakfast. If possible, I'd rather it be breakfast style. I got up quite a while ago, but I haven't had anything to eat yet. The first meal of the day should be something simple after all. Well then, let's see. Are you alright with toast, bacon and eggs and tuna salad? Fuck yeah. How about soup? Would you like some? You probably wouldn't be able to eat that much, right? What kind of soup is it? Pumpkin soup. It's my specialty. But pumpkin soup? As soon as she said it, a chill ran through my body. It made my hair stand on end and I felt as though I was breaking out in hives. Wait a second, Utsumi-san. I beg of you, anything but that. Please spare me. Why? I really hate pumpkin. They're all runny and slimy. Isn't it disgusting? Even the way they look, all rough like a rock, it's hideous. It's rare for someone to dislike pumpkins that much. If you ask me, it's the people who like them that are weird. I agree. I don't like pumpkin either. She covered her mouth with her hand as she laughed. Well then, let's hold off on the pumpkin soup. Yes, please, yes. I answered her, and then... Ah, that's right. I made some coffee. Would you like some? She swung into a completely different subject. Oh my god. I feel like if I pick the wrong answer, she'll poison me and I'll die. Yeah, okay. I'll have a cup. I accepted her suggestion and took a seat. She removed the pot from the coffee maker. As I stared absently in her direction, Do you like coffee, Utsumi-san? I pitched another topic straight down the line at her. She answered, Yes, I drink it every morning without fail. Moderate amounts of caffeine are good for the body, you know. Recovery from fatigue and awakening effect, diuretic properties. It quickly metabolizes the body's waste products, so they say it's good for the skin too. Really? How about milk? No. No thanks, I'll pass. All my coffee's black. I'm drinking black coffee right now. At my reply, she placed the container of the fresh cream that she just poured for herself back in its place. Okay, here you go. The cup made a pleasing little thump as she set it on the table before me. White steam rose from the dark liquid within it. I brought the rim of the cup to my lips. Tastes great. With a happy smile spreading across her face, she... What time did you wake up, Yukido-kun? Asked that as she sat down opposite me. Around 6:30, I guess. I returned the cup to the table and answered. 6:30? That's quite early, isn't it? It's because I slept so well. That's probably why I woke up so early. I see, so that's it. The medicine was effective then, wasn't it? Medicine? I asked her before I knew it. The empty medicine packet I found in my room earlier. It immediately popped into my head. You mean that Zigtamin medicine? Yeah, that's right. Then you were the one who gave it to me, Utsumi-san. An aura of puzzlement coloured her eyes and she looked away. And then, as if suddenly remembering something, she thumped a fist into her palm. I see, that's right, isn't it? You don't remember that at all, do you, Yukido-kun? That? When I gave you the sleeping pills. No, I mean to Fuyukawa-san. Sleeping pills? I shouted in surprise. What's wrong? Is everything alright? No, forget it. It's nothing serious. Despite my calm exterior, inside my head was spinning. I'd remembered something. My condition last night. Hazy senses, dizziness, a loss of feeling in my arms and legs. Afterward, I collapsed onto the bed and it was like I was attacked by intense drowsiness. I see. Zigtamin is a sleeping pill. I hadn't noticed until she mentioned it, but now that I think about it, it makes sense. Kokoro got the medicine from Utsumi and had taken it before the transfer. But why? Hey, Utsumi-san. Why would you give Kokoro something like sleeping pills? What a question. There's only one reason to give someone sleeping pills, isn't there? And that is? So they can sleep? To allow them to sleep soundly. Why else? Then was it Kokoro who asked for them? She came to you complaining of insomnia. No, I was the one who offered them to her. After all, a lot had happened yesterday, right? That's why I thought she'd be tired. And I thought she could do with a good night's rest. Well, it's one of the medications often prescribed for those displaying your symptoms too. As a psychiatrist, I had to consider what medication would be most appropriate for you at the time. And that was Zigtamin. And where was Inabushi Kaiko at that time? My thoughts never stopped coming. Even as I pressed her for answers, I lobbed another question at her. She was in her room. However, at that time, she appeared to be Suzukage Hitori rather than Inabushi Kaiko. So where did you give Kokoro the medicine? In Hitori-chan's room. For a moment, what she said bothered me. Even Utsumi had begun to call Inabushi Hitori instead. But that didn't matter the least right now. I continued my line of questioning. Then does that mean that she saw you hand over the sleeping pills? I wonder. She was unconscious, so I think she saw... She was unconscious? According to Utsumi's story, Suzukage Hitori, Inabushi Kaiko, had had a second fit right before that. She suddenly started to scream and then went on a rampage. The one who restrained her was Kokoro, in my body, who just happened to be at the scene. I see, so all that happened. And took another sip of my coffee. Let me ask you, just in case. Yuni wasn't there, was he? Yes, he was. He came running after he heard Hitori-chan scream. In other words, all 4 people in the same room. I guess that's how it was, yeah. Hey, why are you asking about this? Utsumi tilted her head. From the look of things, her inquiry is purely innocent. Thank you, you're really informative. There was nothing to be gained from pursuing this further. I finished the remaining coffee in one gulp and stood up to leave. Ah, that's right. About the pumpkin soup. I know. I'll leave the pumpkin off the menu, just this once. She had a refreshing smile. She didn't seem to be worrying very much about my questions. Kagame, the bird within the cage. When, oh when, will you come out? In the evening lit by the dawn, the crane and the turtle slipped and fell. Who's that behind you? On my way to the terrace, that song reached my ears. Let's see. Hitori-chan, Yuni answered cheerfully. Her white hands covered both of his eyes. You got me. The answer was Hitori-chan. She lowered her hands, exclaiming that in a delightful voice. Yuni turned around and let out a cheer. Woohoo, I did it. Hey, let's play again. Yeah, okay. It was just the 2 of them here. The sight of them at play, which would normally be a pleasant sight, did not appear that way to me. With just the 2 of them playing Kagame, it felt, how should I put it, eerie. Oh well. That aside, I had other things on my mind. Watching them from the corner of my eye, I made my way to the terrace. I slid open the glass door and stepped outside. The weather showed no sign of improvement. The howling wind embraced my body as its chill pierced me to the bone. Cold. I dove back into the living area. I went back to my room and grabbed a coat. After pulling it on, returned to challenge the storm once more. No good. A single coat hardly changes anything. But there's nothing else for it. I don't have anything else to add as an extra layer. I gave up and plunged into the snowstorm. I shoved my hands deep in the coat pockets, ducked my head and kept moving. Though it was just before noon, the sky was dark. It was an unsettling colour, as though ink had been spilled across it. A biting cold wind, a myriad of snowflakes flying about before my eyes. I stopped, shivered, and managed to awkwardly turn my head. Beyond the whited out landscape, I could make out the silhouette of the building. In the middle of it was the clock tower, soaring over the scenery below. I lifted my gaze upward. I fell from there, huh? I muttered through trembling lips. Why did I even come out here? I just wanted to check the clock tower, wasn't that it? Having listened to Utsumi's story just before, my mind returned once again to the matter of my near drowning in the bathtub last night. Kokoro and my body had apparently taken some sleeping pills. If, for example, someone was out to kill me, and if that person knew about that, for him or maybe her, it'd be the perfect opportunity. Living things normally possess a conditioned flight reflex when in danger, but that was something I'd lacked at the time. Due to the effects of the medicine, I was stripped of my instinctive reflexes. If I wanted to kill somebody like that, how would I go about it? Making it seem like an accident would surely be best. If I were a killer, that's definitely what I would do. I'd carry the senseless body into the bathroom and plunge it into a bathtub filled with water. From there, all I'd have to do is stand and wait. If it seemed as though the body was about to float to the surface, I'd simply have to push the head back into the water, and that would be that. No need to even dirty my hands. Of course, it would increase my chances of success if I bound the victim's wrists, but that would leave marks and would be obvious that it was murder, so without the need for any fuss. No, wait. Why not take my clothes off then? If you wanted to make it look like an accident, wouldn't it be a good idea to strip the victim first? Or perhaps was it done simply for pleasure, just for the sake of seeing me drown? Couldn't be. Now there was the line of thought I really didn't want to delve into, or rather, I felt there was something wrong with me for even having such a thought in the first place. I have no real grounds to suspect anyone anyway, so I'm just being paranoid now. It was probably just an accident. Kokoro, having taken the sleeping pills and thus unsteady on her feet, tried perhaps to take a bath. There she slipped and fell, with her clothes on right into the bathtub head first. Somehow that explanation didn't seem very believable, and I suddenly thought of something. My fall from the clock tower. If it had really been an accident, then that would mean that I'd come within a hair's breadth of death twice in just 8 hours, merely by chance. First I fell off a height of 15 meters, then I nearly drowned in a bathtub while under the influence of sleeping pills. Can you really chalk all that up to chance? That's why I came out here to look at the clock tower. I thought I might remember something if I could see it, but I recalled nothing. Far from remembering anything, I felt as if I was forgetting more and more. Because of this harsh cold, I couldn't get my head to work right. Oh, it's so cold, and yet I couldn't give up. Since I went to all the trouble of making my way out here, I decided that I might as well explore the surrounding area. To the top of the hill to the west. Around the front gate to the north. To the basketball court to the east. I visited several places before returning to my original spot. I looked at the clock tower from every possible angle. One thing kept bothering me. That clock tower. How do you get up there? There was no stairs outside. Would it be safe to say that they had to be inside? Yet I hadn't found a single entrance leading to the clock tower from the inside. The clock tower rose from the roof. There's nothing below it, just the excessively spacious living area. Did I really go up there? I'm presuming that we did. Sure. I climbed it. That's right, I definitely climbed it. I muttered as though to convince myself of it. And then, after climbing it, what happened then? I was deep within the labyrinth of my memories with no exit in sight. I followed the path with the utmost care. Right at that moment, the chimes from the clock tower resounded solemnly. The hands pointed upward. I took my wristwatch out of my pocket right away. The digital display that showed the same time, 12 o'clock. The clock tower told the time with not a minute of deviation. A metallic sound that was like the coarse voice of an aged man alerted me of the hour at hand. The snow danced violently to the sound of the bell as the raging winds stirred it. Though what I saw were twinkling and sparkling particles of light, an infinite number of angels dancing and rejoicing at the advent of a great gospel. In that instant, a vivid scene revived in my mind. On the top of the clock tower, a shadow in the light. The shadow came up from behind me and stretched out toward my feet. Who's there? I turned around, saying this as forcefully as I could. There was the faint shadow of a person in front of the door. However, the fierce wind and the dancing snow prevented me from seeing who it was. Even the silhouette was impossible to make out through the thick white curtain of snow. Who was it? I called out once again. The shadow gave no answer. It was slowly moving closer. Feelings of fear and distress began to grow inside of me. I was backed up into a corner of the roof by the mysterious shadow as it slowly drew nearer and nearer. The shadow didn't stop. Lightning bolts glittered in the distance like flames. The well-honed blade struck the earth. A silhouette could be made out in the backlight. In that instant, I finally figured out what that shadow really... I saw it. I definitely saw its true form, and yet I can't remember. As though it had been filtered out. That one essential bit of information alone was gone from my head. I don't even know if it was a man, a woman, or a child. I felt as if someone had intentionally severed the link to that memory. Damn! I should definitely be able to remember it, but in my irritation and confusion, I violently kicked the snow at my feet. Meanwhile, the cold wind continued to mercilessly chip away at my core temperature. If I stood here pondering any longer, I'd be risking my life for the third time today. The cold wind was depriving me of common sense. No longer able to stand it, I decided to flee back into the building for now. And that seems like the perfect time to wrap this episode up. Because we're basically out of time, right? That seems perfect. Alright, well, we'll leave this one here, and hopefully we don't die in the next couple of hours. We seem to be very prone to nearly dying. I mean, he doesn't know if it's a man, woman, or child. The only other people that are here are Inabushi, Utsumi, and the man that we killed, right? In the first route. In the basement, or the storage area. Whoever the fuck that is. Anyway, we'll see.
Thanks for watching, Bruce, and I'll see you in the next one.